Let's use our graphing calculators to explore this problem, and we'll be answering this question using the graph. So I've gone ahead and typed in this function, which gives me the concentration of a certain medication T hours after it's been injected. So I've typed it in two different ways just to show you the two ways you could type this in. You certainly don't have to type both of them in. Just notice if you are typing in the old way, which is not to use the fraction feature, make sure you use parentheses around the denominator. If you want to be safe, use it around the numerator as well, but because it's x by itself, it doesn't matter. So go ahead and get either one of these two versions typed in. I'm going to go ahead and clear the second one out. And I want to adjust my window before I take a look at this graph. So go into Window. Since T, or in our case X, represents the time, the hours after a drug's been injected, I think a reasonable domain to use would be from 0 hours before we inject it, all the way to 24 hours. I mean, just that makes sense to me because that would be a day. The concentration in this case, I wasn't given any units, so I don't really know what to use for units. I've gone ahead and told you what I want you to use this time. So I'm going to say for my range, my output, I want that to be between 0 and 1, whatever our units of concentration are. I don't know. So when we hit graph, we should see this kind of graph I sketched over here. There's sort of an initial spike of the medication as it's injected, and then it kind of fades away as our liver does its thing and clears out the drug from our system. So here's the graph we're going to look at. Let's go ahead and answer these few questions. So first question is simple. They just want us to find the concentration after 2.5 hours. Well, I don't even need a graph to do that. I could just plug in 2.5 for T and work this out, but let me show you some cool ways to find this. Here's one way we can do it. Hit trace. And if you hit left or right, you can trace to different values on your graph, different X values on your graph. The problem is, even if I were to go all the way over to 2.5, I'm probably not going to get there exactly because I'm using these weird decimals. They just are giving me random points. But what's really great is if you're in trace mode, just go ahead and hit 2.5 and enter, and it's going to jump right to where X is equal to 2.5. So my concentration after 2.5 hours is about 0.185 units. I don't know what they're measuring it. Okay. Another way we could find this is to take a look at your table. It's another cool trick. I actually learned this trick today. And if you look again, you may not see. Sorry, I wanted to change a couple things on my table. But what I was saying, you may not see 2.5 because my table is going by 1. So here's the cool trick I actually learned today. To adjust what your table is skipping by, a really simple way to do it is just press plus. And this down here means what do you want your table to skip by? Well, instead of skipping by ones, let's make it skip by halves, 0.5s. And so when I do that, look at this. Now I go 2.53. So right there is what we found in our graph, about 1.85 for our concentration. So a few different ways you can answer that question. Second question actually asks us something different. This time we want to know what times, or time, is the concentration going to be 0.25? Well, this time they're giving me the output. So I can't simply just plug in a number. I mean, it would be a little bit harder of an equation to solve, but here's a really cool way to answer this using your graph. Go back to y equals and type in the y value they want you to find, in this case 0.25. Now this is just going to be a graph of a horizontal line, but the two places where that intersects our first curve are going to be the two times where my concentration is exactly 0.25. So what you'll need to do is go ahead and hit second trace to go into the calculate menu, and then select option 5, intersect. And all you need to do is trace over close to it. I'm not going to do both of these. I'll let you guys do the other one. But trace over close to one of your two intersection points. You would need to do this for both of them. I'll just find this one. And then just hit enter 3 times. And what we'll find is the exact X value, about 1.71 hours, when our concentration is about 0.25. Go ahead and do the same thing over here, and you can find your second X intercept, or second intersection. And then finally, they ask us to determine when the concentration will be at its highest. Well, right there I can see there's the maximum my graph gets to. To find this, we're going to do what we've done before. Go to second trace, select min or max, maximum in this case because that's what they want. Oops. And then just go ahead, don't press enter 3 times. Move your cursor a little bit to the left of the vertex and press enter. Move your cursor a little bit to the right of the vertex and press enter. And then just hit enter for guess, and your calculator will find the highest X value in there. About 0.71 hours is when that drug will be at its highest concentration.